bring home that title, baby.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the man who is on paper the biggest threat to Samson at this upcoming Arnold, the 2023 Miss Olympia champion Derek Lunsford. Now if you wanna get hyped up for this upcoming Arnold, do watch his 2 weeks out arms video. He is on very low carbs right now, but the energy of Derek is through the roof throughout that video. So there are zero doubts in Derek's mind that he's entering his first ever Arnold to win that title. And so far, the work him and his coach, Chris Azito, has done together, Derek Lunsford seems extremely satisfied with that.
But he really knows what he's doing, man. Like, he's really tentative every day. His arm, I just really enjoy working with him, man.
So I think this might be the very first time Derek has revealed his weight so close to any competition that he did in the last few years. So 247 pounds at 2 weeks out. Now that is big, considering Derek was somehow making that 212 weight cutoff just a few years back. And to all those people who were sleeping on Derek and were still saying the same thing, that he will look the same as he did at the Olympia last year, well, I believe all those guys, they are gonna get a big surprise at this upcoming Arnold in 2 weeks time, because Derek is gonna be roughly 6 to 7 pounds heavier compared to what he weighed at the Olympia last year.
46, 247. Last year, so I'll probably be up like anywhere from 6 or 7 pounds since the Olympia.
And I think this is gonna be a totally different look on Derek this time around. They're trying to come in more fuller, but somehow maintain that same condition as he had back at the Olympia 2023. And I have got to say it is pretty clear they are aiming to come in a lot fuller this time around. So his delts are showing those deep striations. And keep in mind, they have another 2 weeks to dial him in and bring out more detail. And I have got to say, as good as Samson looked throughout this year's Arnold prep, any bodybuilding title, especially of that high caliber, that isn't an easy win. And this, I believe, is gonna be a close fight if Derek is able to come in as he has visualized, especially in his own head. Now, as a fan of bodybuilding, I have nothing more to ask from Derek than to do this upcoming Arnold. And 2 weeks out, we are just thankful that he made this decision and he made this show so much more interesting. And who knows, he might do a show like the Pittsburgh Pro and maybe the New York Pro as well. Guys, Mr. Olympia Signature Series is now live on hostel.com. Use the code FAZI10 to get 10% discount and click the arrow below to check out all the hostel products. Next up, we have a 12 days out update from the giant killer, Shaun Keone. Now, if there was a picture-perfect definition of a bodybuilder maximizing their frame, there is no other example than the giant killer himself. At 5'2", weighing 188 pounds, this close to the show, that makes Shaun pound for pound the most muscular guy in the pro league right now. And the man gives a clear-cut warning to all the men's open guys that he's coming in to slay some giants at this upcoming Arnold. So after the way the Olympia last year went for Shaun, it is pretty clear for these guys. And I am talking about Shaun and his coach Stefan, that he's gonna go back to that 2023 strategy where he tried to come in a lot heavier against Keone Pearson. But that happened at the expense of him having a bloated midsection. And if there was one clear difference between him and Shaun back at the Olympia 2023 that actually determined the fate of Shaun as a 212 champion, that was his waistline. And that was one of the major reasons he lost that Olympia title to begin with. And it was probably the worst mistake he could have made. But here Shaun has no other choice but to come in big. Just for the record, some of the best looks of Shaun, like the Legend Sports back in 2021, where he was able to beat Regan and Sergio Oliva Jr., or the Olympia 2022, he only weighed somewhere in the high 160s or very low 170s. So the man has decided to make a big jump for this upcoming Arnold. But that being said, I do believe if he becomes more blocky because of a bigger waistline, that is gonna be totally counterproductive. Now, Shaun is quite narrow in those shoulders. He doesn't have the most impressive chest out there. He doesn't have that shoulder-to-shoulder width. And just leave Derek, Samson and Andrew. Those are your top 3 for this upcoming Arnold. He will have a serious challenge, competing against other guys who are aiming for that 4th spot. And we have to keep in mind, all these other guys, they're aiming for that 4th spot for this upcoming Arnold. So that isn't gonna be easy. Next up, we have an update from Martin-Fitzwater. So he is now roughly 11 weeks out from this year's Pittsburgh Pro. And the man is looking monstrous here. So not even a single response given to the mutant, his biggest competitor, by Martin for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. Because Nick Walker was the one who said Martin could not even touch him at his worst. And that was at the New York Pro last year. So he cannot beat him at his all-time best. But rest assured, Martin is putting in all the work necessary. He's giving his 100% in the gym. And the man is gonna let his physique do all the talking on the stage in 11 weeks' time. So we always hear this from almost every IFBB pro out there, that they're gonna beat their previous look, and that they're so much better this time around. And that happens every single year. I mean, look at how Hadi Choopan was looking weeks out of the Olympia last year. And everyone was predicting that the man is gonna surpass his Arnold Ohio look from last year. But the thing is, when a peak goes 100% perfect, just like it went for Hadi at the Arnold last year, just like it went for Martin at the Olympia last year, it is extremely damn hard to duplicate that again. The best thing Martin can do is to aim to bring that same level of detail and conditioning with a little bit more size for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. And he's gonna give Nick Walker one hell of a run for this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. So these two physiques, they are kind of polar opposite of each other. Martin beats Nick in the symmetry and the aesthetics all day, every day. But Nick has more muscle, more freak factor. So if Martin is able to close that size gap, which he can do a lot more than Nick can close that symmetry and aesthetics gap, it is gonna be a victory for Martin. The man is top 4 in the world already, and he has got all the right to be very confident going into this show. Your reigning 2 times 212 Olympia champion and the most dominant champion of all Olympia divisions from last year, checking in at 228 pounds. So did anyone else notice that when Keone walks in front of that camera and he sets the tone to hit that front double biceps, just before he hits that shot, the waist does look a bit bigger. And that is totally understandable, considering the fact that he is 18 pounds above that 212 weight cap. And this is probably the biggest Keone has ever been, if I'm not mistaken. But that being said, as soon as Keone hits that pose, as soon as he locks in, his waist just totally disappears. And that is why the man is one of the best bodybuilders on the planet. And that is why only a handful of men's open guys, they can make him look small. If he stands next to them, even now, his muscle bellies are just so damn round and so 3D. It is absolutely bonkers. And I have said this multiple times before, the 212 class, the Olympia in particular, that is gonna get kinda boring. Because as long as Keone continues to improve, especially at this pace, he's gonna create more distance between him and all these other guys. And we all know, the ultimate goal for him, that is stepping on the men's open Olympia stage. Now Keone has given himself 3, probably 4 more years before he makes that switch. Because he's not in a hurry, and the switch will only happen when he maxes out that 212 weight cap. Considering he weighed only 200 pounds on the stage at the Olympia last year, and that was the best 212 physique of all time. Just imagine his proportions with another 10 to 12 pounds. The man is gonna look more cartoonish than an action figure. Guys, Gorilla Wear is offering a massive discount of up to 70% right now. Use the code Fazi10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an off-season physique update from Brett Wilkin. He's on to a big push, as the man is just shy of 280 pounds. And this is gonna be a very long off-season for Brett, as he has already qualified for the Olympia later this year. Now it is kind of amazing how these current IFB pros in the men's open class, they have learned to get so much heavy while staying so lean even at the peak of their off-seasons. So this, I have got to say, is such an impressive look, especially for a guy who isn't even looking to compete anytime soon. And just wait till you see that back relaxed pose in this update, how he still has that detail in his hamstrings. So Brett won the Legion Sports before the Olympia last year, beating Bruno Santos. And that was Brett's first show in almost 2 years. And as always, the man was ripped to the bone. But that being said, he lost quite a lot of size and fullness, especially in the final couple of weeks leading into that show. Now this is something him and his coach Stefan, they're gonna keep in mind and try to fix, as these guys are now working together. And the Olympia 2025, which by the way is also gonna be Brett's Olympia debut, that might be their first show together. Now Brett is looking super strong in the gym right now. And to stand out in an Olympia lineup, he desperately needs more size. Now isn't one of those guys who have that amazing wow factor. So all Brett can do is maybe put on 5 to 10 pounds during this off-season and present an overall bigger version than we saw from him last year. and come in a bit more fuller. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.